Mulligans and Hackers Golf, Season 2, Episode number 3 of our special guest podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Alvin.
Yeah, and in this episode, we sat down with Matt and Jake, and unfortunately, Brandon couldn't join us from SuperFanSprint, and we kind of got together, or I got to know the boys, and kind of had a little chit chat and about what they're all about, and to see what their plans are heading into the 2024 PGA season.
They have a fantastic idea, and I can't wait to see how it plays out.
Yeah, they're dreaming pretty big, and it's going to be awesome. You guys are going to want to follow along at their Instagram, SuperFanSprint, and check them out. These guys are super cool guys. They've got an idea that's never been done before, and one that I think all of us who are golf fans would absolutely love to take part in if we were able to.
That's awesome. I enjoy the podcast, guys, because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So without further ado, here's our podcast with the boys from SuperFanSprint. Enjoy. All right, gentlemen. So we're here with Matt and Jake from SuperFanSprint. How are you guys doing? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, doing well. Thanks for having us.
Hey, we really appreciate you coming on. Your time is valuable, and we're really happy we got you. So,
looks like you're prepared over there.
Yeah, just finished work, so I had to get something to drink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, fellas, SuperFanSprint, just introduce yourselves and just give us kind of the insight into what SuperFanSprint is and what you guys do.
Yeah, sure. I can do this. So my name's Matt, and Jake is also on the pod tonight. And then we have a third guy, Braden, who couldn't make it for the pod tonight. But there's three of us in the group, and our idea is called SuperFanSprint. And essentially what we, what we're planning to do is buy and renovate an old mini school bus and live out of it for a year and attend every PGA Tour event in the 2024 season. So basically what we will do is hopefully next summer we will buy and renovate this bus, and then the first tournament of the 2024 season is in January. So we'll drive the bus to the first event, go to the event, and then after the event's over, we get in the bus and we go on to the next spot. So we're gonna basically drive around the whole continental US and Canada, just following the PGA Tour for a year. And the idea kind of started from Jake and I. We were at the Waste Management Phoenix Open in February of this past year, and we were talking about how it just attracts a whole different type of golf fan and younger group of people that are into it, and how watching golf can actually be really fun. And so we thought, what if there was something we could do to try and attract more people to the sport? And then we were headed to California actually right after the tournament for the Super Bowl, because Jake is living in LA right now. And we didn't go to the game. I wish we went, but it's pricey. So anyway, we were going back to LA for the Super Bowl just to experience the city and see what it'd be like to be there during an event like that. And we noticed that the next event after the Waste Management was the Genesis, which is in LA. And we were joking around about how we could have gone to that tournament too. And we looked up the tournament before the Waste Management was at Pebble Beach, and how that's within driving distance. And so it sort of spiraled into, maybe we should take a month off from work. Like, everyone use all your vacation at once, and we'll go and rent one of these, like an RV, or rent one of these vans or something. You see them all over Southern California, and we'll just rip to 4 or 5 tournaments in a row, because they're all within driving distance on the West Coast there. And then we looked at the whole schedule, and we realized that it's actually possible to drive between almost every single event. And so obviously had a few more beers, and it just sort of spiraled into the idea now, which is to basically quit our jobs for a year and leave our lives behind and just follow the tour, because we love golf, and we just want to create a cool storyline and show people that basically inspire people to just take a risk and say fuck it and do something that matters to them. So that was the original idea, and since then we've kind of spiraled it into how we can use the trip to help people. So our hope is that while we're on the road, we'll be able to raise money to help with things like educating people that golf is really good for their mental health. So we know that it's scientifically proven that golf can be really beneficial for your mental health, and so we want to be able to raise money and work with organizations to try and get rid of some of the financial barriers to entering the sport, so that more people can access the sport and more people can benefit from having an improved mental health through playing the sport. And then we also want to try and promote diversity, attract a younger group, different demographics of people into the sport. So that's sort of the grand scheme of things. But overall, the main idea is just get in a bus for a year, live out of it, and go to every tournament in a season.
You say that, and it sounds kind of unreal and crazy, but yet when you think about it, because I think the PGA Tour starts on the West Coast, and as the season progresses, it kind of goes, goes east, right?
Correct.
Yeah. The one problem we have right now too is that we actually originally planned to start in September of 23, but the tour just moved to do a calendar year. So that's why we won't start until January of 2024. So
yeah, they used to have like the wraparound season, so it'd start in September and finish at the end of August. And they announced for 2024 that they're going to move back to a calendar year. So it moved our plans back about 4 months.
Gives you a little bit more time to get prepared.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into this, obviously, right?
Yeah, I can only
As you can imagine.
Yeah, I can only imagine getting, again, even just setting up. Again, it's very ambitious, quitting your jobs for a year just to go and do this.
Yeah,
but I think it's a life experience. It's something that you'll never forget. I guess, right? I mean, how many PGA events have you actually gone to other than the Waste Management?
I've been to 2. I went to Torrey Pines a few years ago for the Farmers Insurance, and I actually saw Tiger play, so that was pretty cool. And then we did Waste Management also.
Yeah, and then Braden and I live up in Canada, so we've been to the Canadian Open a bunch of times. But yeah, hoping to spread our wings and go see some other ones.
Yeah, that's insane. I can't, and again, this is going to be great content for what you guys do down the road. I mean, it's insane. Yeah. So you guys going to do a lot of vlogging, video logging, and stuff like that?
Vlogging, podcasts, social media. We've already partnered with a lot of brands to be like brand ambassadors while we're at these events.
Nice.
So we're trying to make money on the road too, and like Matt's saying, like there are a lot to go into this, and we're hoping to get more of our financial personal situation set up before we go, so we can use our time to really help with charities like mental health, like Matt was saying. So like our big goal right now is to raise money for the bus, acquire tickets, and do those things beforehand. So it's nice we got more time to plan ahead, just so that we can focus on the initiatives that we really want to do while we're out there.
I can't even imagine going through the logistics of getting something like this. And again, because you can't wait until the weekends. You have to be ready to go, right?
Yeah, I think actually the planning and sort of the background stuff is going to be harder than the execution of it itself, right? Like at the end of the day, when the sprint starts, we're going to be in one location for a week for the tournament, and then the tournament ends on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and then there will be another tournament starting on Thursday of the following week. So that gives us about 3 days of buffer time to get to the next event. So during the California swing, we can get from one spot to another in a day. But
less,
even less, a few hours, right?
Yeah.
But then there's other parts there's other weeks where we'll be going from like they're in the current schedule, they go from California to Florida. So we'd have 3 days to essentially drive all the way across the country and be there on Thursday in Florida. So it's pretty exciting thing to look forward to. But yeah, certainly a lot of work on the back end to make it happen.
It's unbelievable. That's it's crazy. It's, you guys are talking about something that it takes a lot of courage to do, right? Like a lot of people don't like the fact or uncertainty or change, and you guys are talking about basically, throwing it all up in the wind and just kind of taking a chance to pursue something that you guys enjoy, and also while you're doing it, look after some things that you guys are passionate about, and that takes real courage these days to do, which is awesome, and super exciting. So, who you guys talked to? You guys had some brands you guys have been talking about being like brand ambassadors and stuff, and
Yeah.
that's kind of obviously to help you guys out on your trip, I would assume, right? And be able to focus on some of that other stuff. You want to elaborate maybe a bit on that?
Yeah, so we've partnered with a couple brands here. We just actually partnered. We got our new golf ball with Odin Golf.
Nice.
So we'll send you guys the link if you want to see what's up, and you can buy a dozen. We make some money off that too. So that's another way we can fundraise for this event.
Sweet.
We also have some sponsors through our podcast, like Can I Wellness, which are these like oral sprays basically, and they help with like anxiety, sleep, boost, which is like a little bit of a coffee thing. So we're partnering with that. And we're talking to a lot of other brands like merchandise and stuff like that too, so that we'll wear their stuff at the events. And another thing too, like we really want to help these like up and coming brands and these startups.
Yep.
Because like that's part of the whole thing too, right? It's like a grind, and we really want to help these brands be better. And a lot of them are a lot cheaper, and the quality's a lot like almost just as good, if not better, than these Titleists and these Nikes and all that, right? So
Yep.
that's another thing we're really looking forward to doing. And I know Matt would agree.
Yeah. Another thing we noticed is like, so when we started the idea, we were like, okay, how do we grow this, right? Like, how do we start to, get some followers, tell people about what we want to do? And we kind of went after the big companies right away. The big golf companies that everybody's heard of, the big apparel companies that everyone's heard of. And obviously we didn't get any responses. And so then Jake actually thought of the idea, and it was pretty genius, was like, why don't we reach out and start like working with or seeing if people are interested in helping smaller brands. So people that are also looking for a bigger following, people that are also looking for more of an outreach, and sort of making it like a spider web, right? So like, we're here and we know these people, and we're going to try and connect with this small brand who is into making polos, and they have a bunch of connections that they're trying to use to start their business. And so how can we use our connections to help sell their product, and how can they use their connections to help show people what we want to do? And essentially we just tried to repeat that with various different smaller brands. So our hope is that, when the trip is actually happening, we have all these like startup brands and people that were in the same position as us at one point, where they had not very many followers. They were just looking for anybody that would give them the time of day. And hopefully our plan is that if we can get some kind of platform to advertise these brands and give these people some notoriety, that would be really awesome as well.
Yeah, essentially like build like a community, right? And we have that on our website, is we want to build like a sense of community around our brand, which also includes helping these brands too. So that's a big goal of ours, and it's gone pretty well from what I've seen.
That's good. That's good to hear. And we've started as well. And again, for us, it's organic. So 36 a Day Golf Co. out of Ontario, we've partnered with them for our golf tours that we do in the summer. So we're working with him now to get, and he's going to work with us, and we're going to work with him on, again, same thing, exposure and pushing the brand, and he's going to help us out with obviously hats, and he's going to do a special hat for us for our tour championship that we have at the end of the year. And we're looking at other brands as well, smaller brands.
Well, I mean, even in our golf bag, right? Like, I mean, we got some of those smaller golf brands in the bag. I got Haywood wedges this year into my bag. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Haywood. They're starting to kind of be up and coming. They're an Canadian brand. I think they're out of BC, right?
Out of BC, yep.
Yeah. So I got really, really good quality stuff, and at a really nice price point. So like, we're all about trying to jump on and help those guys that are trying to make waves and do into the golf industry.
So fellas, you're into this, the SuperFanSprint, you're doing the bus trip, but do you play golf? Are you golfers?
Yep.
Yeah, Matt was actually just down here and we played a few rounds.
Yeah.
In California, yeah.
Yeah, I would say Braden and I probably play anywhere from like 50 to 60 rounds a year, and we try and get out maybe 10 to 15 times together in the summertime. We definitely play more if the weather allowed it, but Canada doesn't, as you guys know, doesn't really have
Well, that's kind of why we do
all
the
seasons.
guest podcasts in the winter to get us through the winter. So
Yeah,
that's why, like last season, I don't think we did too many podcasts in the summer for like talking about our tour and stuff, because we play golf and we play
Yeah.
a lot of golf. Like we're getting 5-6 rounds in a week, right? Like we play a
Oh my
lot of golf. So
gosh.
there's not a lot of time. Not that there's not a lot of time to do podcasts, but I'd rather be playing around at golf than doing this type of stuff. But
Right. Yeah.
in the winter, when now we're shut down and it's just pretty much simulators, and I'm not a huge fan of simulators.
Yeah. I'm
but
not a simulator
Yeah.
guy either.
I don't mind them, but they tend to be really expensive, and you only get like an hour, right? It's like $60 an hour, and it's kind of like, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and our home course, it's $40 an hour. So when me and Chris go down, we go down for a couple hours. It's $40. But I find that, like, for me especially, simulators do not translate to what I know I play on the golf course.
Yeah, totally
Uh,
agree.
we've hit the simulator a couple times now, and I can't get more than 220 out of a driver. And it doesn't matter what driver it is, doesn't matter what bag I pull it
Yeah.
out of. I can't get more than 220 out of a driver.
Now you're just getting old.
Ah, shut up. And we went and did the Georgia golf course. They can't call it Augusta,
Yeah,
but we did
yeah.
and there was one drive where Chris was 303, 306.
Yeah, it was a little downhill. It got a nice
And I think
run on it.
and I think I'm like 190 yards off the tee box with the driver, so all right.
Yeah, the putting is also weird and not very reliable. So usually
Yeah.
I just do like 2 putts max, right?
Well,
So
we do
you
the 6 foot gimme ring. So if you
Yeah.
get it inside 6 foot, you get the
Yeah,
gimme.
my local simulator, there's like a setting that you can put where it's like 2 putts max. Or I guess like the way that it works, right, is you take your 1 putt to try and get it in, and if you miss, then it takes the distance that you are away for your next putt, and it assigns like a score based on the distance. So if you were 4 feet, let's say you get 1 stroke. If you were 6 feet, they'd add like 1.2 strokes. So at the end of your round, you don't actually have like an even numbered score.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
But like it still allows you to, like, I guess, compete with other people who, instead of just having a 2 putt maximum and they're 50 feet from the hole, there's still like a reward for being closer. So it's actually like not a bad system, I'd say.
Yeah. I see that, but I think I'd rather just have the gimme ring, because I can miss those 6-footers for sure. So I'll take those gimmies all day long.
You can miss those on a normal course. So
Yeah, well, I do. That's why I'm called dead putt. I'm not called dead putt for no reason.
it's true. No, it's we got snow on the ground here, and it was like -30 yesterday. So that's all. That's all we get for golf right now.
It's disgusting.
It was 22 today here. Not gonna brag. Yeah, I might play on Friday.
We'll trade you.
Yeah, I think we're done here.
No thanks. Yeah, no thanks.
I think we're done here. I don't want to do any of this anymore.
Yeah, I was pretty nice. I was in Southern California in like mid-October, and it was like, Christ, this is amazing. And I hurt my ankle over the summer too, so I missed like all of August.
I feel
So
you.
it's-
I tore my Achilles in May.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
geez.
Did you play it all this summer?
Yeah, I was out for 5 weeks in a cast, and I was 1 week into a walking boot, and then I started playing because it was my left ankle and my front foot. So
I think we have some. Do we have some
Bit.
posts, some video with you on the driving range in the boot?
yeah, I think the first day back you took a video and kind of put it up there. But so I tore my Achilles just harmlessly, like because I coach club volleyball because I played volleyball in college. That's my other love. So I coach club volleyball, and I happened to be in Calgary coaching my club girls at provincials. I was talking to a coach, and the ball got loose, and I literally took just a short left step and popped. And I heard it pop, felt it pop. A parent heard it pop like 30 feet away, and I was like, "What is that?" And then I went and sat down or hobbled over to a chair, and one of the girls on my team, her dad was a paramedic. He happened to be there, and he comes over, and after I was out of shock, and he feels both my ankles. He's like, "Yeah, so you don't have an Achilles on your left ankle anymore." I'm like, "Oh, that's wonderful news." So then
Oh, man.
I went and got casted, and was in that for a month. And then they took the cast off, and then put me into a walking boot with a bunch of wedges. So I spent a week in the walking boot with the wedges, and I was kind of like, getting around. I was playing a lot of disc golf on my knee scooter, just trying to stay active, doing something. And then I was kind of wandering around, walking around on my walking boot. I'm like, there's no reason I can't play golf. It's my front foot. So I told Alvin, I'm like, I'm going down to the range on Friday to hit some balls. I was like, and I'm playing in the event on Saturday. And he's just like, okay. So I went down and hit balls, and I'm like, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't great.
Well, your swing is not pretty anyway.
Well, it's
so.
true. It's true. But I mean, it wasn't great golf. But I was like, you know what? I need to be on the course working on my game, and it's driving me nuts to stay at home. So last year I got in like 125 rounds, and like this year I got close to 100 in, and it was. But I was playing like as soon as my boot came off, I was playing 36 almost every day.
Yeah, that's amazing. Mine was my back foot, so I couldn't really rotate it.
Yeah, that would make a big difference. At least with the front foot, I could just pivot on my heel, right, and then just open when I swung.
Yeah.
That kind of cost Chris the chase for the cup though, as he missed 5 weeks, so it put him down in the point standing. So
the worst part was
I was happy with that.
I went to a simulator the night before it happened, and I had my because my brother lives in Calgary, and we usually go to the simulator as the season's coming up into spring. And I had my game basically dialed in. My driver was flying pretty straight and long, and I was feeling good about my game. And then the next day I do that, and I'm like, there goes all that work.
Yeah, damn, that's frustrating.
Yeah,
that's frustrating.
I was happy with it. I was okay.
So, what do you got, or what are you guys doing your like for work wise that you guys are able to step away for a year?
Yeah, so Jent's the guy that isn't on tonight. He works for like a telecom company.
Oh, nice.
Like similar. He works for TELUS. You guys are.
They don't tell us.
Oh
yeah. So yeah, Jent's works for TELUS, and then he also he's been doing some work with Golf Canada as well, like in their handicap department.
Cool.
So that's what he does, and then Jake works for a sports team down in California,
Nice.
doing events and marketing. And then I work in the mining industry. It's about as exciting as it gets.
Yeah.
And so I think overall it's not really like a job specific thing that allows us to step away. It's just like, if we can make this work, we're gonna step away for a year and do the trip. And I guess when we finish off, we'll just see what happens. And I don't know, start applying for new jobs or whatever, right? See what happens after the year goes by, and see.
Who knows? Maybe you won't need a new job after that, right? Maybe
that's the goal. Yeah, but we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but the plan is just step away, and a year is such a long time. So when you think about like where you were last year, how many things change, and where you're at in life and stuff is totally different. So. We're just going to kind of reevaluate when we get home after the trip's over.
That's awesome. So you guys, we're talking about you guys playing a bunch of golf. So are you guys pretty good golfers? Kind of mid handicappers?
I'm shit.
Yeah, Jake struggles.
I play the least.
100. Yeah. I think a good round for me is if I can break 90. And then Jens is probably, I'm a little bit better than Jens.
He's in the middle.
Yeah, maybe like a mid 90s. Jens is very, very like he can shoot an 85 and he can shoot 105 in 2 days in a row, right? He's very all over the place.
Inconsistent, yeah.
Sounds like Alvin.
Yeah.
Hey, so they're all Mulligans and Hackers Tour certified.
100%.
As long as they're not single-digit handicaps,
yeah,
you guys can play.
Yeah. No, we just go out and have fun, and I think like a lot, like Jens and I, like, well, we could work hard and get better, but like most people, I'm a horrible putter, and so I don't really have the patience to sit on a putting green for 2 hours and just like work on my stroke or whatever, right? And so I 3-putt a lot and take it on the chin and move on.
It's about having fun, anyways.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what we do. We have fun, and that's why we started the tour that we have for me, Chris, a few more of our friends. It's a day out golfing with the guys, and then yeah, we're competitive. I like to beat Chris, and I like to beat the other guys. You play golf. You play golf to win, right?
Yeah, so yeah, we're competitive for sure, and we're just not very good.
And then over a period of
a moment
summer,
where you really need to execute, like we're not good enough to actually do that.
Well, we had a couple of playoff holes this year in our whole tour thing, and then man, that gets just a little willy for us crappy golfers going out and playing one hole for the win, right?
Yeah. All it takes is one shank into the trees or something, and
it's a different kind of pressure, man. It's like when I came back, like I'm usually a fairly good putter. So when I came back and I was struggling with my putting coming back, the first tournament I had where I was into a playoff with Alvin, I had a short putt for par after a terrible approach shot, or a short putt for bogey after a terrible approach shot. And I should have drained it, and I just kind of limped it a little bit and missed. And I was like, oh, well, that sucks. And the pressure just kind of gets to you sometimes in those moments.
Yeah. We actually, I do, my brother and I run this like tournament. We just run a tournament every year. It's just like a weekend golf tournament. And this was in 2021. We actually had two guys that had kind of pulled away from the pack. And we played 2 rounds. It was the second round, maybe on like 60, and it was pretty evident one of these two guys is going to win. And they were actually sharing a cart, and my brother was in their group, and apparently they were just like dead silent, not saying anything to each other. They were sharing a cart and they just weren't saying anything to each other. It was like dead silent apparently. And they were coming down the stretch, and apparently they were both just playing really, really well. And so my brother was saying he was waiting for like one guy to screw up, and they were just like both making birdies, both making pars, like clutch putts. One guy hit a shot out of the trees through like 2 little trees that got onto the green and made a putt for par. Like apparently it was just unreal, and these two guys were just not saying a word to each other the entire time.
So when we play in our season, we'll go out, we'll play after work, and there'll be 4 of us, and we'll go get our what we call practice rounds in, and we'll play like. But on event days, when we have our like tour dates, we go out. It is the same thing. Like there's not a lot of chat. There's not a lot of pumping each other up and none of that stuff. It's like, you know what, it's go time. And for us, 18 handicappers, I think we're between 14 and 18 handicap guys.
We're down now around 15, you and I.
Some of the guys are still up in the 20 handicaps, and they still, it's like, it's stone face, game face on. It's time to fucking win golf, right? And that's a big part of the fun for us too. Like we have our buddies. We go out and play golf with our buddies, and we compete against our buddies for made up trophies and made up jackets, and it takes the whole summer to get through it. And I can't even believe we've got 2 seasons in, and we've got another season coming up. And the guys are all excited, like, geez, can't wait to get out there and play golf again and do this shit, right?
That sounds unreal. So that sounds really cool.
And that's part of building it up too. And it all started from, I was through COVID when we played a few rounds, and I've told this story a couple of times, but depression was a big part of getting this started. So
for sure,
I wasn't not that I wasn't in a good space mentally, but it's where you are in your life. I have a family, but my kids are almost all out of the house now. They have their own thing going, and me and my wife, we have a good relationship, and so you're stuck at home. There's nothing to do during COVID, and what are you looking forward to? So
yeah,
that's when I approached Chris with the idea of, hey, we should do a golf tour when we get back out, because golf will start out there. And we approached another friend about the social media side of it, but he's no longer with us as a group. And then we approached some other friends, hey guys, you want to get into golf? You want to get into golf? And it was the last 2 years playing golf in the summer. Like the first season, we were getting our feet wet, right? It's like, some things didn't work out, some things did. And last year was, I would say, for the tour wise, it was a better year for the tour. But Chris missing the first 5 weeks was because Chris and Clark now, who Clark came from out of nowhere. He never won an event last year, like in the first year. I think he had a tie for first, and we didn't give victories, or we didn't have playoffs in the first, so he didn't really get a victory. And last year, the guy won the whole thing.
We talk about putting in the work. He spent like last year. I put a ton of work in on the driving range and the green. I'm the exact opposite of you guys. I'll spend hours and hours. Like I've got a family. I got 3 daughters that are teenage girls that would rather be doing whatever they're doing rather than being home. And my wife's just like, get out there and go do whatever in the summertime, right? So I basically come home and I'm like, I'm going to the golf course. Okay, I'll see you tonight, and I'll spend hours there just working on stuff. And I mean, in any sport or anything I do, I try to be as good as I can be. But I understand that's why golf's such a fun sport to play, because like you'd said, one day you can go out there and shoot an 85, and the next day you go out there and you shoot 105, and you're like, what happened today from yesterday, right? And
yeah.
And I mean,
it's such an interesting sport.
It 100%.
Sorry,
no worries. And I think Clark seen that last year when I went through and I swept all the awards for our tour and putting in all the work. And then slowly but surely he started spending more time on the range and putting in his work. Some of the other guys are doing the same. Alvin's off and on because he's old and he doesn't like the weather some days. But I mean, going back to what Alvin said, when we started this, I mean, we were looking for something to, I mean, going through COVID and sitting at home is not really, it's not fun, right? Like you guys are talking about the mental health side of things. Like you have to have an outlet to enjoy yourself or get away from the things that are bothering you. And you're right, golf is an amazing outlet to be able to do that.
Well, let's look at what we're doing right here. Like for me and Chris, my family, my friends say, Alvin, this is so outside of your comfort zone to do stuff like this, because I'm kind of an introvert. And I'm like, well, I don't care anymore. Like my family's out in the world doing their thing, and I need something that I can focus on that gets me excited to do things. And I played 103 rounds of golf this past summer. That's tour dates, just going around. Me and Chris, we traveled to go to golf courses, in the prairies, little different hidden gems that we find, and that gets you excited. Like, and yeah, it may not be the scratch golfers or anything, but we're working to play better. And,
for sure.
And as a guy my age, I'm closer to 50 than I am to 45. I'm going to be doing this until I can't. So
I think we're all the same.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
We were like, well, how do we keep going with this? And it's like we've had some conversations with some pretty cool people already. I mean, I personally have made a ton of friends in this whole golf social media thing. I talk to people every single day.
Yeah, likewise. And it's interesting you guys talk about the pandemic, because like it's really like a double-edged sword for us in terms of like, one of the main reason why we decided to do this trip was because the pandemic kind of showed us like, you never know what's going to happen. So like, just take a risk and just go do it. So that's one part of it. And then the other part of it was like the 3 of us each used golf as a like to benefit our mental health coming out of the pandemic, because we were all at such low points during the pandemic. And so that's why we want to focus a lot of our time and our energy into promoting the mental health benefits of golf, because we literally use the sport to kind of get us back to where we were before the pandemic. So the pandemic is really the epicenter of how this idea started and how we hope to try and improve people's lives through doing it.
Yeah, and like this is a perfect time to do it too, just with the COVID being over, and it's more evident how good golf is really for your mental health. So like this is the best time to do it. I think the 3 of us all agreed we needed about a year to plan it all out. So yeah.
It's going to be awesome. We're excited to watch you guys on Instagram, how it unfolds, and
I checked out your YouTube channel today, so you're going to be putting a lot of stuff up on the YouTube channel as well, right?
Yeah, we have a Kickstarter video that's done. We shot it this summer. We have a Kickstarter about to come out. We have to make some edits just to fit their criteria. But that's basically like our next video that won't be a podcast, will be our Kickstarter video. And then we're hoping to vlog as much as we can. We're not like, obviously, none of us have really done this before.
Yeah,
I don't know how to vlog.
This is all news to us too.
Matt's a minor, so like he doesn't know how to vlog. Gents, he works at TELUS. Like we're not experts here on vlogging, so we're hoping to like get everything in between, like the driving, as much as we can at the event. We'll be watching. We obviously can't film everything.
Right.
Yeah, we want to put some GoPros or something like inside the bus so we can have some, we want the content to really be able to serve a bunch of different purposes, right? So people that are interested in actually seeing the golf, or if people want to see what our bus reno experience was like, or just the life on the road type thing. We think there could be some really great content just from the longer trips where we have a finite amount of time to drive quite a long distance. There could be some really fun stuff in that way. So we basically are just going to hope to sort of film everything, or as much as we can, and put together some montages or whatever, right? Like you can kind of plan for it as much as you want, but at the end of the day, like the content or whatever you're going to provide and show people is going to be whatever it is, right? So we'll learn organically, and our first vlog or two is going to be bad, and then hope by the middle of the season, hopefully we're rolling and we have an idea of what we're doing, and
I won't take
Yeah.
this
it'll
long.
be better.
I think one thing we want to do too is we have talked to a lot of brands about this, and a lot of them have connections at golf courses throughout the U.S. And we're hoping to like shoot some sort of video there too. Like maybe two of us play with two people who have had mental health problems and they're just getting into golf, or like veterans. We've talked to a lot of charities like that who have they benefit from golf too. So we're hoping to do videos like that as well.
That's awesome. That stuff it hits home, and I'm really liking what I'm hearing, and I can't wait to see what you guys do.
So did you guys start out? So did you guys play golf before the pandemic, or was it really the pandemic and the mental health part that really pushed you guys to really take golf kind of to the next step for you guys?
Yeah, we all played before COVID, but I think the whole mental health thing, and then like as Matt said before, being at the Waste Management and just seeing how fans have really come out for golf now after the pandemic, like there's a whole new wave of younger fans too.
Well, golf has grown so much since the pandemic, right? Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Even here, like when we go around our little community here at golf courses, there's tons of people playing the sport now.
Yeah, good luck getting a tee time now.
It's
tough.
You're not kidding.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
live in a small town with like, what do we got here?
5 golf courses.
Yeah, well, 5 or 6 golf courses, and how many people? Like
62,000 in that
Yes.
here.
and you're struggling for a tee time every weekend. It's hard to
Yeah.
find one at all courses. It's crazy.
We
You're
don't
lucky
struggle
'cause-
anymore.
Well-
We're social media guys now. We don't struggle too much for tee times.
Well, we're lucky because we got it pretty good at our home course. But I mean, if you try to go anywhere else, it is like it can be tough if you're not on the ball. I mean, as per capita for golfers, Medicine Hat's got to be up there as one of the cities that has more golfers or more golfers per golf course than a lot of the other provinces and cities have. Because it's crazy how many people golf here and how many good golfers.
It's
there are.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
like we were sitting at the Waste Management on that, the grandstands on 16.
Yep.
And we just look around, like the three of us are just crushing beers. Then we look over, there's like old people just watching golf because they love the game. There's like college kids there. There's like families. It's just like there's a whole range of golf fans now that have come out of the pandemic that we've really been excited for. And we're hoping to create a community around that and just build for something that we can benefit others.
Was that the event where the beer cans were all tossed or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Were
weren't
you
there
guys
for that. No,
Oh.
it's like we probably should have stayed that weekend because the Super Bowl in LA was kind of a dud, to be honest. Like no one really gave a shit, even though the Rams won.
Yeah.
So like we probably should have stayed that whole weekend, but we're gonna go back. So
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
epic. I remember watching that on TV.
Yeah, we were there for the Thursday round, and then we flew back. There was one ace on maybe
Friday
one
morning.
Friday, one Sunday. We flew back Friday afternoon, but we didn't go to the tournament. It is what it is. Hopefully there will be some aces. We plan to be there all four events next year, next year. Well, 2024. So
yeah,
You think you guys will get to visit some of the pro-ams they have on like Wednesdays and stuff?
yeah, we're gonna play in them too. Yeah.
Are you?
Nice.
No, I don't know. Maybe that's on our bucket list. We're hoping to get it.
yeah, we have like a trip bucket list, and one of them is to get invited to play in a pro-am. So
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah, get your stuff out there so people see it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard thing to, this is what we're really struggling with now that we're getting to like 9 months since we started this project, and like it's just a really hard thing to promote because like we don't actually have anything tangible to show anybody right now.
Right.
And so we're trying to do our best right now and do what we can, but at the end of the day, like we basically just need to get started and just start going and then hopefully gain some traction.
Well, I think you guys have been on like Safe Power podcast. Were you guys
Yeah.
on the Screws podcast as well?
Yeah, on
Yeah.
the Screws, T and
Yeah.
High. We've been on T and High twice, and then we have our
So
own.
yeah, and you guys got your own. So again, getting in that circle, and I mean, Mac from On the Screws he's been huge for us in supporting us and giving us advice. And yeah, we haven't been on his podcast yet, but he's been on ours twice. I'm putting that out there, Mac. But even that, getting that tangible, getting your faces out there and getting your voices out there and letting everybody know what's going on. When the van hits the road, you're already going to have some backup, some push already.
For sure.
I think, right?
I hope so, yeah.
And that, I think that'll be huge too. And I hope and wish nothing but the best for you guys in this endeavor going forward, because it sounds great. And again, the mental health aspect of it is something we can get behind, and I really like it. But I will, before we go, what's in the bag, fellas? Because I'm getting into the gear geek side of golf. What's your brands that you like to use? What's in the bag right now? And what would you, if you had your ideal bag set up, what would it be?
Yeah, so right now I'm swinging. I've had the same set for a few years. I actually got like fitted at TaylorMade for custom clubs. So I use exclusively TaylorMade right now, just because I went to like a TaylorMade facility where they like fitted me for custom clubs. So I have the M1 irons,
Right.
and then I prefer a blade putter. I don't like I looked at the Spider, but I don't really like the fatter putters. So I use a TP Soto. And I have two 5-ounce weights in it. And then I'm swinging M2 woods and hybrid. So I go driver 3-wood hybrid, and then I have a 3 hybrid, and then I go 4 to gap wedge, 4 to A. And then just a 56 and a 60-degree wedge. Also milled grind, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
The milled grind wedges are the same ones that tour players use. So I really like it. Stiff shafts, dynamic gold. I use I actually have, I wish I had my clubs with me, I'd show you. I have like colored grips. So I'm a big fan of Leeds United. It's a soccer team in England. And so their colors are blue, white, and yellow. So I have blue and yellow grips that I use.
Nice.
Yeah. And I just use like Golf Pride MCCs.
Nice.
And Gents is Gents is all over the map in terms of what he has. Like,
So am I.
Big Nike guy. I think he has Nike irons. I think he also has a TaylorMade driver. And then Jake's also all over the map, but I'll let him say what he has.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I seem to hit Titleist the best. I'm all over the map too, but I'm definitely due for some new clubs. It's just so fucking expensive, man. Especially being a lefty in the States. It's so hard to find. It's so hard to find lefty
all three
stuff
of us
down
are
here.
lefties.
Yeah,
Are you all three of you?
Yeah, we all played hockey, so we're all lefties.
I think my ideal setup, to be honest, would be, I really like my TaylorMade woods. I don't know if I would deviate from that. I would be pretty keen to try Mizuno irons. I've heard they're pretty good. And I'm also pretty keen to try PXG. I'm not sure if they're actually good, but I'd be interested in trying those out. And then for a putter, honestly, like I'm not a big like putter geek because I'm just so bad at it that it doesn't matter what I have. I'm just not.
I'm so bad at it, and I
putter
try
itself
everything.
is not going to improve my game.
I try them all because I'm so bad at putting. Like
people rave about Scotties, and for me, it would just be like a waste. Like, it's not going to help me. So,
I've tried a Scotty. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I had to choose, my next set of irons would, or I would at least want to try Mizuno's. I've heard really good things. It seems like kind of an underrated brand.
Well,
So,
Chris's entire bag. He's been fitted for Mizuno from driver all the way down to approach wedge, and his bag is solid Mizuno.
Yeah, actually just a month or so ago, I went and got my driver 3-wood, 5-wood Mizuno fitted, and then last year I got the JPX 921s.
nice.
Those things are like butter, man. It took me about 3 months to kind of get the feel of them, and now I walk up there and I'm like, yeah, how far am I out? Okay, yeah, I know exactly what club I need to grab.
He's definitely put it in all of our minds now that we all need to be fitted for bloody clubs, right?
Yeah, I think getting fitted for custom clubs is like such a difference maker. Like, well, I went from just like a stock like Sport Check type set to custom TaylorMades, and like my average score, I wouldn't say handicap. I didn't have a handicap at that time, but my average score went down like good like 5 to 10 strokes. And I went from, hitting about a 7-iron 150 to now a pitching wedge, which is like a total game changer, right? When you have wedges in your hand more often. So I feel like my distances are a lot more dialed.
Yeah, I'm pulling out a 4 hybrid for 200 yards, and Cass is pulling out a 6-iron.
Yeah, and it makes such a difference, right? Like, if you
but Jake, I want to hear what you got in the bag, buddy.
Yeah, sorry, Jake.
I got a mix of everything. Like I said, Titleist is I seem to hit that the best, but I do have some Nike in there as well.
Yeah, I hit
driver. Titleist.
Yeah, I got Titleist.
I like TaylorMade woods, so I got a TaylorMade burner driver, and I got a TaylorMade R9 driver. Kind of switch back and forth. I got a Callaway Diablo in the bag right now just to try out that a guy lent me. But the TaylorMade R9 3-wood that I have in the bag will never ever come out of the bag. It is the club. Yeah. It is the club I hit the straightest, and I can get 220 out of it, and it is the most consistent club in the bag. So TaylorMade R9 3-wood, medium flex shaft. Yeah, that's not going anywhere.
Nice. Yeah, I love when you can find that one club. My brother has that.
Yeah, that is that, and it's the one club in the bag when I'm at that yardage. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I got this covered.
Automatic.
Yeah. But I play Wilson D7 irons because
Wilson, again, there's a name brand you don't hear much anymore, eh?
Well, again, yeah. When I
have some Adams golf stuff too.
Do you
remember those? Yeah.
Yeah. When I didn't play golf like that. Again, I played probably about 50, 60 rounds in my entire life before, like 3 years ago, and I always wanted to play Wilson clubs. That was in my mind. If I was ever going to be a golfer, I wanted to play Wilson clubs because the Wilson name. That was just it. I did right. So when we got into this, and I bought my first set of brand new irons, I was like, I'm going Wilson, and at the time it was Wilson D7. So I picked up a set of Wilson D7s, but I've used those for a couple of years now, but I think I need to move on from the. Yeah, I need to graduate to the forged now instead of the cavity back type irons. So there might be a change coming in the bag here, and I don't know if I'm going to go back to Wilson because there's so many other brands out there and again, I want to try them all, but it's expensive, right?
For sure. Yeah. I think if I was going to get a new set, I would try and find one of those places that has partnerships with lots of different brands. Like my mom just did it actually last year. So she has, she has like a Callaway driver. I think she's got Mizuno irons, TaylorMade 3-wood. Like it's just whatever she was hitting well, and they just fit her for whatever brand, right? But the fittings are it's a game changer. I'm convinced. It's like, it actually makes a tangible difference.
Well, I've seen it. I've seen it in Chris's game, like, especially with the Haywood wedges that he picked up when you come to that, dialing in that short yardage with wedges, man, for Chris, it was a game changer towards the end of the year. I mean, we say lick it and stick it, like,
yeah, inside 100 yards, man. Like if you can be dialed inside 100 yards, your handicap will just fly down.
Well, and I'm a big guy with wedges, right? Like I have my gap wedge or my pitching wedge and my gap wedge that are both JPX 921s, and then I got a 56 or 50.
What is it? 50.
54 and a 58 custom Haywoods, and then I keep a 60-degree actually bomb tech wedge in my bag just for using the junky sand traps.
Yeah, we have
5 wedges.
What's that? I have 5
You got
wedges.
5?
Yeah.
Wow.
So then
You got 4, so I guess it's not that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's awesome though, because for me, if I'm inside of 100 and 150 yards, it's like, which club do I want? Because I got a good chance to just dial it right in, right? So with my Haywood wedges, my 54 was, 100 to 110 yards. That's the club I'm swinging. My 58, it's around that 75 to 90 yards. Yeah, that's the club I'm hitting. And as the season went along, I started to get the feel for them, so that what a quarter swing feels like, what a half swing feels like, what a full swing feels like, and how far those go. So for me, like last season before the season started, because I hit a big ball off the tee. And then if I'm closer and my short game tends to be pretty decent, it's just if I can keep it out of trouble is my problem. That's why I figured, hey, I put another couple wedges in my bag this year. I don't need a lot on the top end. When I went and got fitted, I usually carry a 4 and 5 hybrid. So I just I took my 4 hybrid out and replaced it with a 5 wood. And then, I have the option to put the 4 hybrid back in depending on the course we're playing or whatever not. But yeah, I love having 5 wedges in the bag. It's just, it's so nice to have so many options, especially when you're around the green too.
Totally. I back it. I wish I had like more clubs so I could interchange as needed.
Yeah, I got clubs kind of coming out of my wife's not really happy with the whole club collection thing going on. So, but
they're just all
again,
old.
What's that?
I said they're just all old like you.
They are all old. Yeah, the newest thing I got is what's in the Wilson staff bag there. But
yeah,
I love it.
It's we're turning into big golf geeks now because we spending lots of time and starting to turn into the golf gear. It's becoming more of a thing with us, right? And I went and got fitted because like you Matt, I had basically a Canadian Tire set that I'd had forever, and I'm like, well, I got to upgrade because this just isn't gonna hack it. So then I'm like, okay, let's go get fitted. If I'm gonna buy a set, I might as well. We got a local fitter here, Bob Saylor, who does all the fittings, and I was able to get my Mizuno's fitted for less than what I go buy them off the shelf at Golf Town. So I'm like,
that's crazy.
Okay, I was like, no, done deal, and it's nice because then you get your swing speed, you get your ball speed, you get your proper shaft flex because all mine are 6.5. Project X 6.5 flex, and the jet black look, which is pretty slick, and it's just you kind of get those fun custom options like you're talking about, having your grips for your football team. Just little things to customize your bag, right? It opens up a whole new world. It can get expensive, but it opens up a whole new world.
Yeah, and it's almost like a golf lesson in itself. Like I remember just being blown away at the guy just being like, I'm guessing you miss here, and I'm guessing that this is a shot that you tend to hit, and like he was picking apart like everything that I would do normally on a golf course and being like, okay, like you quite often miss left, and it's like, yeah, I do. And then he's like, okay, perfect, like we're gonna set up this club so that your miss isn't going to be as dramatic.
Yeah.
And of course it just like makes all the difference, right? And then and he was like telling me why I'm missing left and everything. So it was like a golf lesson, and I'm getting fitted, and I went straight through the manufacturer, so it was also cheaper than off the shelf at Golf Town. So pretty awesome.
That's probably going to be the next step for me as well, as going to something like that. But I'm not doing Mizuno because he's doing Mizuno, and I will not use anything that he's got in the bag. So.
Yeah, because then you feel bad if he's still better than
you. But that's so. And I'm in the boat where if I win, he's going to go, well, you just copied my bag, right? Like, the hell with that, man. I'm not playing that game.
Do you get to play a lot of golf with any sports guys that you work for a sports team, Jay?
No, I haven't actually. That's like, it's not. I'm not really that high up to really have that that chance, but that'd be sick. There are some really cool ones around here though that I got to drive quite a bit to get to. The one that we played, Matt, remember?
Oak Quarry.
Yeah, Oak Quarry. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that
but
place was good.
it was just kind of cloudy that day, but yeah, there is some cool ones out there.
Awesome.
Cool, fellas. Well, I really appreciate you coming and giving us the time to come on and chat with us. I think I would really like to, as we get closer to your guys' launch, maybe do this again and get gents on here as well.
Totally.
Keep us in mind, and you got two friends here that really are excited about what you're doing. So we'll be paying attention, and all the best to you.
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
Great.
Love it. Thanks for
having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
again, let's do this again.
For sure we will.
All right, fellas, take care.
Thank you.
Easy.
Later.